What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here. In this one, we have a very important market recap, an analysis to give you guys this evening ahead of CPI. Everybody needs to be careful. This is going to be the last major piece of data that we're going to be receiving before we get the Fed's interest rate decision next week. We're going to be going over all of the current interest rate expectations that we are seeing out of the market right now, and some very important catalysts and people to look out for to give us an even better insight into what the Fed is going to do next. Now, that might sound a little bit strange, but it's going to make a lot more sense towards the middle and end of this video here. So again, without further ado, guys, let's get into all of this info. If you guys do enjoy the information and analysis I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down, drop a like on this video. Costs you nothing to do it, helps me out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And those of you guys who have put that foot forward and really said to yourselves, I really want to take control of my financial success in the market. You guys can see all the screenshots on the screen right now. I even gave this Walmart trade out for free on my Twitter account, ShortTheVix2, and on my Instagram, ShortTheVix1 yesterday. These trades, guys, have been absolutely awesome. The day trades, the swing trades, the post-earning trade on Oracle that we had this morning on the stream, well over 100% gains there. Remember, everybody gets 2 weeks free to the Discord community. You can come in, see if it's for you. Not only are you going to get access to all the educational courses, the watch list, the private live streams that are starting next week, the macro research reports that I give you guys, the single stock research reports that I give you guys. There is a lot in there for all of you. So if you're interested, check out that link down below. But let's go through first all of the major banking institutions' expectations for CPI going into tomorrow. So as you guys can see here, all of the major banking institutions are listed, and they're really not all that different from each other. We see the median forecast is about 2.5%, and we see some banks putting this at about 2.6% here for headline year-over-year CPI. Core CPI, we see basically the same thing. All of these major banking institutions are putting these expectations right around the same area. Now, in this CPI report, which we are going to be breaking down probably in tomorrow's video, we really need to pay attention to shelter and energy. Those have been the two components of CPI that have been really keeping it at these elevated levels. Now, we have seen oil significantly moving to the downside here. So that could help continue this downtrend that we are seeing in the inflation data over the next couple of months if oil is able to remain at these lower levels. Now, what are we looking at currently for the market expectations for what the Fed is going to do next week? Well, for next week in particular, we can go over to the September area here. The market is really pricing in a 25 basis point rate cut. Now, what's interesting about this is that if you go to December, remember, there's only 3 FOMC meetings left in the year. The December expectation is that we are going to be cutting by then through that December meeting about 125 basis points. So if the market is expecting 25 basis points at the September meeting, we only have the November and October meeting. So if we get 25 then, if the market is correct in that 125 basis points by the end of the year, well, then we're obviously going to need to see that 25 basis point rate cut followed up by 2 jumbo 50 basis point rate cuts. Now, if you guys have been following along on my Twitter or these videos or in the live streams or in the macro research reports that I send you guys would know that I'm really not a big fan of these jumbo rate cuts right now because of what it could potentially do to the dollar. It could increase, have the yen increase in value against it and cause a further unwind of the yen carry trade. So that's what those expectations are right now. And right now, we're also seeing the bond market react to this as well as the 10-year yield is making fresh lows. And then, again, I know we've talked a lot about TLT here. To me, this just seems a little bit too obvious to start playing TLT right now. So I'm going to be staying away from this right now. If we do end up getting a weekly close above this 101 area, I might be interested in taking maybe a small position on this, a little bit of a bite. But let's get back to kind of after tomorrow's CPI report, who and what should we be looking towards to really solidify what we could potentially expect out of the Fed doing next week. Oh my God, Walmart is still going over here. Congratulations, everybody. I know a lot of you guys are in that one. I just saw that over here. We still got about 45 minutes left in the market here. So awesome. I mean, these trades are absolutely killer. But when we look over here, this article is describing in the beginning portion Just how restrictive in the security measures that the Federal Reserve takes in order to make sure that their closed door meetings are kept that way and that no information is able to escape. But there's one individual that has a decent amount of information, and it seems most of the time more than a lot of the other reporters. So, but with all those elaborate security protocols to keep the outside world in suspense about its plans, there's one journalist inside the windowless room who has developed a reputation for knowing what the Fed is going to do before everyone else does. How does he do this? I don't know. That's up for debate. He's known as the Nick Tamaraus right here. So that same Twitter account that we were looking at here, we need to pay attention to any specific tweets about rate cuts from this Twitter account after CPI and going through the end of the week, because this is going to give us some more insight into what the Fed is actually going to do. The general air inside the press room is definitely that Nick is the big character in the press corps, says another journalist. It's almost like he broke the seal. So what do we need to do? Well, obviously, when looking at these market expectations for tomorrow, we have to think about this in terms of like the Goldilocks narrative that we've been talking about. If we end up seeing CPI come right in line with a lot of these expectations, which I think is likely right now, the market is probably going to chop around until the FOMC meeting. If we see hot CPI, the market's probably going to sell off. If we see really low CPI, the market is probably also going to sell off, because if you think about it in terms of what really low CPI means for growth prospects and what could then happen to unemployment, if large corporations and the overall economic sentiment means or it's showing that we're not expecting to have this type of growth that we have witnessed historically going forward, well, there's going to be a lot less hiring, and that could lead to more rate cuts. I know a lot of people think that these rate cuts are bullish for the market because a lot of people joined the market in 2020, and we saw that these rate cuts were kind of buoying the market up, but that was already after a very significant downturn in the market. So it's not like the Federal Reserve cutting rates right now is going to completely tank the market, but we have to understand the historical reactions to the Fed cutting rates. So CPI tomorrow, guys, is really going to be that last piece of data that we're going to be looking at before we get the Fed's decision next week. Now, in addition to this, I want to give you guys a couple of levels to look out for in the market so that you guys are prepared, those of you guys that aren't in the Discord with us, so that we can give you guys at least a better understanding of what you could potentially be looking out for. Now, I am going to be teaching you guys this in the Discord in the video that I'm going to be making for you guys tonight. It's going to be released tomorrow. So again, make sure you guys hop in there. This was an absolutely filthy trade here, about a 1 to 9.5 risk to reward off of this zone down here. I'm going to be showing you guys that, but this zone up here to me is very, very, very important. If we look at the market on an hourly time frame here, this is the NFP move down. There is going to be potentially a lot of resistance if the market on CPI can trade back up into this area. I would be very, very cautious with taking any new long positions until the market can get a very strong close above this NFP wick up here, right around 55.32.50 on ES. And the bottom of this zone is really going to be right around this 55.14 area. I don't want anybody to get caught in some of these positions here. If we end up seeing that initial positive reaction out of the market moving to the upside here, just be careful, guys. There is never any need to enter the market very quickly just based off of one piece of news. I see this is a mistake that traders and market participants make all the time, even long-term investors, where they see some sort of news come out from the market and then immediately make a decision, and then the market ends up reversing on them. As market participants, guys, we never have to do anything at any given time, and most of the time, not making a decision and sitting on the sidelines is the smart choice in waiting for those really, really good opportunities to show up, which is what we do all of the time. So team, that is going to wrap up this one here. We are going to be live for CPI tomorrow, bright and early at 8:25 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to come by, and listen to me break down all of these new pieces of data that we're going to be receiving tomorrow morning, love to have you in there. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Be very aware, remember, of any new comments from Nicky Leaks, Nick Timmerhouse's Twitter account there, because that is going to be a very important factor in what we're looking at for those rate cut expectations going into next week. So team, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.